Oh my God, I just had a massive revelation. I'm making some Anzac biscuits. They're one of the cookies that I'm going to be doing in my um, Mary the Fairy cookies. Or Miss Jodine cookies. I don't know. She's the one that's going to be the cook, but the cookies are designed to go with my books and my stories. You eat them when you're listening to my. They were called Anahita Storytime cookies, but I changed the fairy from Anahita because it didn't make sense to her. It didn't make sense to what she ended up becoming. Because I had to, once when I changed Andre's dragon to the Legend of Brehena Thuza to remove my husband out of the equation, because I wrote Andre's dragon for him while he was in prison to cheer him up. I wrote the porcelain rabbit as well. Um, and the kids, he used to ring up every night, and my boys would sit around the phone, and I'd have the phone on speakerphone, and he would listen, and every night he'd ring up, and I would read like the next chapter that I'd just written. And so we'd sit around and have story time, but because I used to read books to the boys constantly, the boys were learning to read pretty much as soon as they came out of me, but my kids started learning to read and write at the age of 2, so by the time they were 3, they could read and write. Um, I remember Thomas's first word was foot. The first word that he read was foot, and he was about 3-4 months old. He'd also pretty much memorised Here McCleary, when the cat gets stuck up the tree and it's meowing. Yeah, he was doing that cat's meow, copying me at like 3-4 months old. So I'm making these Anzac cookies because they're coming today, and you know that like we've been in creative overload, and I'm sitting here making these cookies, and I'm just thinking about what's coming and how everything's changed, and like, you know, stemming from the root of this, that, and the other thing. Like, I've learned so much about myself. I've learned so much in the last few weeks that it's just kind of mind blowing about like the true path, the true calling, the truth of everything, about where I'm going and where I came from and why and the wherefores and that. Like, it's just, my mind has been blown wide open so hard, like I have no brain left in my head. And what I realized is, because it's like, holy hell, what have I just come out of? Like, look at what I've just come out of. And it got me thinking back, because I'm thinking about my talent show and how, you know, I'm going to have musicians coming to want to, you know, audition for Vanta Black, and there's going to be kids come and audition that can play instruments or think they can, you know, act or whatever, and they're going to come along. And I'm going to be able to give these kids a chance. And I was telling my sister that she was supposed to be a fashion designer. She was supposed to be in fashion and makeup and hair and all of that, but she was never encouraged to. And I probably should have been a writer or a musician, but I was never encouraged to. I used to be able to play the guitar, and I used to be able to play the keyboard, and I could read sheet music, and I forgot it. I've forgotten how. My guitar, Alma, that my ex bought me for my birthday one year, with a lesson book and that. Like, I started learning again and performing in front of him, but I got too embarrassed. I got stage fright, sort of performance anxiety. It got too much because of what happened to me when I was a kid. Because we were at a family party, and if you're Māori, or I don't know if Aboriginals do it. I don't know if Native Americans, Mesoamericans do it, but I know Māori people do. Polynesians do. It's a Polynesian Indigenous people thing, I know for a fact. to sit around and sing to the guitar when you're having a party. Are always all parties for Polynesians start sitting around listening to a couple of guitars singing, and then that's usually when you put the music on or turn the karaoke on or whatever. It gets you going, it gets you in the mood, it gets you in that community spirit. And my cousin was always the one. My cousin Michael was always the one who played the guitar, and my cousin-in-law Robert. And he got up to go to the toilet. I can't remember how old I was. I must have been about 13. And I picked up the guitar and started playing Stand By Me. And I got laughed. Oh, who does she think she is? Like, look at her trying to be this, that, and the other, And I was so embarrassed. I put the guitar down and I never picked it up again. Like I couldn't play it anymore. And then I forgot how to read sheet music and that. But if I had stuck with it, if my parents had have encouraged me, it would have made writing Vantablack in my jingles so much easier, because I could have just written it all myself, because I could read sheet music. So I could have been my own composer. I could have composed it all myself and played the guitars, and that my kids would have grown up, listening to me play the guitar every night. And because I let people's jealousy or people's whatever, people's insecurities reflect back on me, I lost a talent that I really loved, and I was good at it too. Like, I was really good at it. I had guitar lessons at school. I was in a choir that was chosen out of thousands of schools in New Zealand to sing a Christmas carol on TV. A girl at my school wrote the Christmas carol. Her name was Lara, I think. And her song was chosen, and I got picked to be on this little Christmas song commercial thing. It'll be out there somewhere. It was just before I left school, but I was having guitar lessons and everything at that point. Like, I was getting right into music, and I could have composed it all myself, and I didn't. And that's when it hit me. That's why I'm building the school, the foundation, to give the kids the chance that I never got, because they weren't in the right supportive environment. And then I was like, holy flip-flop, Batman, that really hit home. That's the real reason why I'm doing it. There's everything that you feel driven to do, there's always a reason that will go back to your childhood. Yeah, so anything, sorry, I had to go and take the biscuits out of the oven. As I was saying, there's always going to be a reason why that goes back to your childhood. Why you're so driven to be successful, why you're so determined to have something happen, why you stop at nothing to make certain things happen in your life, why you don't give up. And it will always stem from your childhood, because of some criticism or lack of support, or someone saying you couldn't do it. Or, see, I had always thought, when I decided to build the dragonariums, the safe houses for the kids that the government, law enforcement, whoever, rescue from human trafficking busts, the kids that have nowhere to go, or until they've got somewhere to go, building these dragonariums, they come to the dragonariums. We look after them until, they're sorted. And if they never find anywhere to go, because some of these kids are, they're stolen to be impregnated so they can use their baby. So a lot of these babies, the government don't even know they exist. Their births weren't registered and that sort of thing, because they're considered disposable. I know that might be harsh for some people to hear, but it's the truth. So if these kids have nowhere to go, then they can stay with us, but they'll be safe, and we can look after them. So I thought, okay, if I'm going to build these dragonariums, I need a way to pay for it where the taxpayer isn't having to foot the bill, because I know a lot of people have a problem with unaccompanied border children in their countries, and they don't realise, or they're too selfish to realise, that they're just babies, they're just kids. They didn't ask for this, they were put in situations by adults that were beyond their control. So anybody that has a problem with it, they're cruel and they have no heart, because they're children. And these kids have been sent to hell, to their doom, to their death. And I can't have that. So I thought, how can I come up with a way to fund these safe houses where the taxpayer isn't footing the bill? And so I thought, okay, I'll build the foundation and we'll do this, this, and this, and I'll bring out this product and that product, and I'll do this, and this, I'll build this character, and I just worked like that, building it up, since like 2015, 16. Because I was supposed to be going to New York to be with my husband when he got out of prison. So I needed a way to, because I didn't want to come over on because I was his wife, I wanted to do it of my own accord, standing on my own 2 feet, because America thought I was worthy to, bring what I was offering into the country. I thought I was going to be suing Rocio, Ray Nunez, and the Army and Air Force and that, and it ended up being so much bigger than all of that. It involved presidents and prime ministers and government departments, and I was up against everybody. I was up against so much more than who I thought I was up against. Video games companies and all of that. So now I understand, because they're going to be owing me a lot more money than I was originally going to sue them for. Especially because they didn't believe me about the Santaro thing. So I get a lot more money, and I know exactly what I'm going to do with it. So I thought back then, when I get my lawsuit money, because originally it was going to be that, I had my radio show, and I was going to use my radio show as a way to, promote what my husband and I were getting ready to do. Like 2017, by that point, I was already saying on the radio show in Chicago, I'm moving over, but I hadn't told anyone about, my plan to build an art school in New York. But they said that I was up for being syndicated to New York on iHeartRadio, is it? And, so everything was working out. And then, of course, Martin did what he did, because now I know the reason why he was so nervous and why I needed to calm him down with my stories wasn't because he was getting out of prison after 11 years. It's because he knew he was about to make the phone call that was going to end everything. And that he was going to run off with the pedophile and child abuser. The child abuser was the first one he ran to have sex with. I know that because Beth told me, because of the email, because the Facebook message that Nikki sent. I've got the screenshot for it on the card of my other phone. So of course, obviously I had to remove him from the Legend of Brehena Saithusa, because I had to rewrite it. I had to figure out, well, if I've written it, it means something, because everything in it is coming true. Then I started to realise I was actually writing it about me, and he had nothing to do with it. Not really, other than the fact he triggered my ascension. So then, by writing my books and stories and coming up with the cookie ideas, because, my boys have always had hot chocolate and cookies and stories and all of that. So I built this whole empire thinking it was to pay for the Dragonarium, and it is. But when it became the Art of Creation Foundation for inner city kids in New York, which was why I put my husband through business, why he was getting a master's degree in business management. I was paying for him to do online courses I went without food for it too. My son sold his Star Wars toys to raise the money to go and see him, and I ended up having to give it to him to pay off a drug debt or a food debt, or like he owed money somewhere along the line. I've got the photos of my son advertising his ATAT and ATST for sale because he said that he wanted to use the money to go to New York to show Martin that his love for him was real. I've got the photos. I think I've posted them on Instagram, but I can't look at them because they break my heart because I was his mother and I let it happen. And I promised him that I would get those toys back, that I would buy him replacements. He can have whatever toy he wants after this. So I started to realise that everything that I built, the cookie line to go with the stories, the whole empire, the whole creation of Brehena Saithusa and formerly Andre's Dragon and all of that, it wasn't just to raise money for the Dragonariums, it was also to give my inner child a place to express itself. It's like God snuck in a wee present there for me that I didn't see coming. Like, yeah, I'm going to let you do this, and yes, this is going to happen. Just let me be in charge of how this is going to play out, and I promise you when you get to the end you're going to be really surprised, and boy am I surprised. And I can't wait to go on the road and meet the kids that are going to do the voices for all my cartoons and all my movies and all my games, and all the kids that are going to end up playing on stage, you know, Vanta Black, the musical live radio performance. I can't wait. And it's all because I got laughed at when I played the guitar when I was like 13 years old. And I was good. Like, I wasn't messing up. I knew I could play. Biggest regret of my life. So, when I get out of here, I've said to the boys, I've been saying it for a couple of years, or a few years actually, when we get out of here, I'm going to pay for a tutor to learn how to play the guitar again. And then maybe it might make writing my jingles and my songs for my movies and that a little bit nicer. And then at least my boys might not have grown up listening to me play, but my daughter will, my child will, because I know I'm having another child. I can feel her. I can feel her around. I see to the boys and they can feel it too. She went away for a bit, but she's back now. So, yeah, it all started with the guitar. Who would have thought that me playing the guitar that day would end up building an empire so that other kids would have a place to shine. When my light was dimmed, it shall glow for the others. Anyway, I've got to go because I'm cooking. So, yeah, it all started with a guitar. But I will be taking guitar lessons. I'll get a tutor. And I also want to learn a couple of languages too. Espanol is going to come in handy, and Māori. My son Gabriel wants to take Māori language lessons too, so Thomas might even want to join in. I'll be really proud when I can speak the language, the te reo of my people. I only speak the language of my ancestors, which isn't the same language. The language of your people isn't the same as the language of your ancestors, and I speak the ancestral language, but I can't speak. I mean, I can speak little words. I understand conversations more than I can speak it, put it that way. So, yeah, it all started with a guitar. Bring. I'll speak to you later. Ka kite anō. Mwah.